Hi, my name is Deng. I'm a meditation teacher and ADHD coach. I've meditated pretty regularly since the mid of 2020, and I first got into meditation when I was in college. So I'm super excited today to share my tips with you of how to make meditation more ADHD friendly. So I invite you to notice how your body is being supported by the surface beneath you, whether that's how you're sitting on a chair, how you're standing, or how your feet is on the ground. And then I invite you to squeeze your shoulder up towards your ears if that's available to your body, and let them go. Let's do it again. Squeeze your shoulders up towards your ears and let them go. So today my talk will cover what is meditation, why you might want to meditate, some of my personal tips of how to make meditation more ADHD friendly, what my daily meditation routine actually looks like. So first, what is meditation? Meditation, in its essence, is a training of directing your focus of attention in a very deliberate way. So I'm trained within the mindfulness tradition, and the mindfulness tradition is about paying attention to the present moment in a non-judgmental way. So it's deliberately paying attention to whatever is going on in this present moment in a non-judgmental, or in other words, I like to say it in a loving, curious way. Another way to think about being mindful or being in a meditative state is I invite you to reflect on this question of when is the last time your mind and body is in the same place? I love asking this question towards my clients, towards my students, and most people usually have a difficult time at first to recall an experience when their mind and body is in one place. And then I invite them to dig a little deeper. Usually it might be right after a shower or in the shower. It might be in nature, doing a nature walk. It might be you're exercising. So let's just pause here for a moment, and I really invite you to think about when is the last time your mind and body is in one place. So once you notice those moments, that's when I love to celebrate with people of congratulations, your mind is not too distracted to meditate. You naturally already have those mindful moments in your life. So my job here is to help you orient more towards those moments. It might be when you are watching a sunset. It might be when you are holding hands with a loved one. It might be when you're doodling, when you're hula hooping, when you are listening to a really good piece of music. But you have those moments in your life already. So to meditate is not to overcome some difficult barrier. You already have the ability. So my job here is to help you to cultivate that ability a bit more. So we talked about what is mindfulness or what is meditation. This very deliberate way of paying attention to what is going on in the present moment continuously in a loving and curious way. Then I want to talk about why do ADHD folks might want to consider meditate. Meditation now is becoming such a buzzword. It's seemingly popping up in every self-improvement articles. It seems to help with everything. But here I'm going to talk about very specific benefits of mindfulness has for ADHD folks. So this is from a paper that's written in 2022. The name of the paper is Mindfulness Interventions for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. So it's to the knowledge of the author, the most comprehensive systematic review of mindfulness in ADHD. In this paper, they listed that mindfulness helps reduce ADHD symptoms for both adults and children, especially in attention. And mindfulness helps ADHD folks to improve emotional functioning greatly. mindfulness helps ADHD folks to increase self-compassion. Mindfulness helps to improve quality of life for adults and reduce depression and anxiety symptoms for adults, which are two very common comorbidities for ADHD folks. Mindfulness helps to reduce ADHD parents' stress level, and what's more, mindfulness potentially improve executive functioning for both in ADHD adults and ADHD children, and potentially improve general behavior. So obviously, mindfulness has lots of great benefits. But just like any other good habits, cultivating a good habit is not always easy for ADHD folks. How do I manage to meditate for over 500 days? We all come through the door of mindfulness and meditation when we're really struggling with something. So for me, that moment happened first in college when I was dealing with depression. And then again in the middle of 2020, of when the world seems to have way more suffering than I have ever seen before. That's when I really set the attention to meditate daily. And that was way before I recognized any signs of ADHD. I wasn't even aware of anything related with ADHD. But intuitively, I understood that I couldn't just pick one meditation and set a particular time and just do that same thing over and over and over again. I intuitively started to explore different varieties of meditation, guided, unguided, with music, without music, different techniques, whether it's more mindfulness-based, repeating a mantra, more movement-based, like dancing meditation, or maybe more heart-based, like loving kindness meditation, compassion meditation. So each day I kind of cycle through my favorite meditation. I have a little meditation menu, and I kind of intuitively check in of how I felt each day and pick the meditation that's most appropriate of my daily mood. So that's kind of how I managed to meditate. Now I've recognized I have intuitively used some of the principles to make any habits easier to cultivate for ADHD folks. So if you ever read Dr. Holloway's book, who is an ADHD expert, he talks about how to cultivate strength through these steps. The first is to connect. The second is to play. The third is to practice. Fourth is to master. The fifth is recognition, and recognition leads right back to connect. So from those steps, I think there are some principles that emerge for cultivating any habits. I like to simplify it to call it make it fun, make it simple, and make it collaborative. So how can we make meditation more fun for ADHD folks? I kind of touched upon it earlier. One is to explore the varieties of meditation. There's different meditation anchors. That means what you choose to focus on during a meditation. Usually if you browse online, the most common meditation anchor is your breath. I've come to realize that a lot of times focusing on one particular anchor doesn't necessarily work for ADHD folks. So one thing I've learned from taking a neurodiversity informed mindfulness course is to combine different anchors as well as combine different sensations with anchors. For example, I invite you to do this practice with me together. We will try to combine sensations of our hands with the sensation of our breath. So I invite you to gently open your hands, stretch your palms, and feel the skin of your palm really stretching, and feel the back of your hand really bend if this is available to your body. And then gently close your hands together, your fingers touching each other. First, just be curious and pay attention to the process of opening your hands, stretch those palms, and closing your hands, and feeling the fingertips touch each other. Now is the time to add another layer of sensation. Next, I invite you to try to sync your in-breath and out-breath with this hand movement. So when you breathe in into your belly, have your hand gently open and really stretch those palms. And when you breathe out, your hands close. Breathe in, hands open. Breathe out, hands close. Breathing, hands open. Breathe out, hands closed. Really trying to synchronize the in-breath with the opening of the hands and with the out-breath with the closing of the hands. Great work. So that's a demonstration of one of the best tips I've learned is to add a layer of sensations towards whatever anchor you have chose. So if you have chosen your anchor to be breath, you can explore what's it like to add the sensation of hand movement or add the sensation of breathing out with each sigh actually having sound. Or you can try having an external anchor, like a hand movement, combined with an anchor, like how your belly is expanding and falling with each breath. So I like to use the analogy of I cannot pay attention to any lecture or any podcast if I'm just listening to it, sitting here doing nothing else. And I cannot do my chores. Chores are so boring. So what I do is I combine both. I will wash my dishes while listening to a really great podcast, or I will call my friends while I fold my laundry, or I might catch up on some lectures while I vacuum. Designing your own meditation practice is a bit like that. You have to experiment with combining different layers of sensation and different focus points. So try to experiment with 2 or 3 focus points. And I would suggest 1 external focus points and 1 internal focus points. And experiment what layers, what levels of sensation input is needed for you to enter your primal focus zone. So for me, I tend to meditate a lot better if I'm sitting outdoors on a deck or if I'm walking in nature, because there are just inherently a lot more sounds, a lot more sensations my body is feeling. Or if I'm sitting indoors, I tend to use background music or guided meditations, where I will light an incense just to engage more of my sensations. So I'm naturally in my primal focus zone. That's some ways to make meditation more fun. Another big way is to just meditations out there. I love the idea of being kind of like a kid in the candy store of, oh my God, there's so many types of meditations out there. There's so many meditation techniques. Like I briefly mentioned before, there are mindfulness-based ones, there are concentration-based ones, there are ones that you're just repeating a mantra, there are ones that you are moving, you can be standing, you can be dancing. There are ones you do outdoors in nature, really observe nature. There's eating meditation. I even meditate when I'm taking my salsa lessons. My salsa lessons kind of act like a movement meditation course for me because I have to be in the present moment and not distracted, not overthinking, not in the future or not in the past, so that I am actually synced with my dance partner. So those are some ways I've thought about that really made meditations more fun for me. So I invite you to think about for you, what would be the ideal meditation setting for you? Would it be indoors? Would it be outdoors? Do you prefer music? Do you prefer guided meditations or unguided meditations? Do you prefer incense or engaging other sensations like doing meditation while you're drinking a cup of tea or when you're eating? I even have heard ADHD folks say they would meditate when they doodle or when they do hula hooping, when they listen to a really good piece of music. So the possibilities and designs are endless. It's all about finding what works for you, that particular combination of anchors and sensations that will work for you, that help you to focus on what you have chosen as your meditation anchor. The second biggest principle that stems from Dr. Holloway's connect, play, practice, mastery, and recognition is the connection part. I love to say make things collaborative. We all know the magic of body doubling for ADHD folks. That means if somebody else is in the same space doing something else with us or doing the same thing with us, we'll have more motivation to actually do the thing we need to do. That's the same with meditation. That's why, allegedly, even since the Buddha time, thousands of years ago, meditation is always encouraged to be practiced in groups. I personally really cultivated my practice in groups as well. So I invite you to check out any online meditation groups. Maybe you have local meditation groups available as well. If nothing else, I love to put on guided meditation so that I kind of experience this vibe of people practicing with me together. And one of the benefits of practicing in groups is I tend to bond with people so much easier if I get to practice with them. There's a very special sweetness and special type of intimacy that's cultivated by practicing together. And I get to hear other people sharing the ups and downs in their own life. And I tend to realize that, okay, progress is never linear, that we're all going through a lot of ups and downs, and that's okay, and that's normal in life. The third is make it simple. I love to say that I meditate because it feels good. And it feels good because I've made it simple, so I'm more likely to actually do it and finish this task, and the end result is it feels good for me. One is to remember that meditation is a practice. You're not required to be perfect. The end goal is not to get rid of all your thoughts and all your distractions. You're practicing the muscle of redirecting. So you don't have to be perfect to get started. The second, I love to recommend for people to start with what's easy for them. To start in the setting that's the easiest, the setting we kind of talked about in the first principle of make it fun. To start with what's already working for you. So remember the reflection questions of when your body and mind is in one place. What are some activities you're naturally doing that your body and mind is in one place? Then I will invite you to tag along some 3-minute meditation right after the activity. So that's one way to meditate. Another way to make it simple is to just incorporate meditations into your daily activities. Let's use brewing a morning cup of coffee as an example. What is the sight of brewing this cup of coffee? What is the sound of brewing this cup of coffee? And what is the sensations in your body about moving your arms or lifting a cup to drink the coffee? So if you incorporate sight, sound, and sensation, that's another way to make meditation more accessible into your daily life. Then it's really about using your strength. Some people are very visual focused, like me. Some people are more audio focused. They love music. So combine meditation with your favorite sensory experiences. For me, I tend to meditate pretty well in nature, doing a mindfulness of sight meditation. For some people, they may just put on their favorite piece of music, and that will bring them into that body and mind is in one place state. So think about what you naturally enjoy doing and what are your strengths, and try to combine those activities with meditation together. Another way to make it simple is what I like to call the on-the-go meditation practices, and like what meditation practices look like in my daily life. So I tend to divide meditation practices for myself into 3 energy levels. One is the high energy days. If I have a very high energy day, I'm very motivated, I'm well rested, I tend to go for unguided mindfulness meditation. If I have a medium energy day, I might go with a guided and structured meditation, so I have some guardrails for my mind, so my mind doesn't just jump to a million places. And I tend to rely more on the outdoor settings on my medium energy day to help me focus. And on the low energy days, I really just do on-the-go practices. I tend to do more body-based practices because body-based practices usually give me a very, very direct feedback loop. ADHD folks love to see the result immediately. So on those low energy days, I tend to do something like breathing exercise, shaking and dancing, or going through what we talked about before, like the sight, sound, sensations of a daily activity. And I gathered some phrases for myself so that throughout the day, if I need to regain a piece of mindfulness state, I tend to redirect myself to these phrases. Some of the phrases I use are, this too is part of the present moment. This too is part of the human experience. Yes, I'm feeling this, and I'm also aware of. Nothing is perfect, nothing is permanent, and nothing is personal by Ruth King. or just run through the steps of rain meditation of recognize, allow, investigate, and nurture. Or if I'm having challenging interpersonal connections, I remind myself this person is just like me. They have hopes and dreams and highs and lows and wins and struggles, and may I cultivate compassion to this person. Well, I hope you enjoy this talk of how to make meditation more ADHD friendly. I hope you have some takeaways from this talk, whether it's how to combine out of your body anchors with inside of your body anchors, or combine different sensations and anchors together to design a meditation practice that uniquely works for you. And I hope me sharing the real examples of how I meditate on different energy level days is helpful for you, as well as my own tweaks of how I manage to meditate pretty frequently. And I want to end on this note that your mind is not too distracted to meditate, and you are absolutely allowed to tweak your meditation practice and make it uniquely your own. And my name is Ying Deng, and you can find me on all social media platforms at ADHD Asian Girl. And please let me know what you think about this talk. And I hope you continuously enjoy your practice.